Hello everyone. In the previous lecture, we discussed the introduction of project management, and we know that when the project involves a large number of interrelated activities, and also we discussed that the network diagrams are used to represent these interrelated activities. So in this lecture, we are going to discussing about the basic terms and definitions used in network diagram. First, we will see the what you mean by network diagram. It is the graphical representation of logically and sequentially connected arrows and nodes representing activities and events in a project. Here, we are representing all the activities and events of a project by graphically with using of arrows and nodes. Here, arrows are representing for the activities and nodes are representing for the events. So construct a network diagram, we should understand some basics. Let's see some definitions of the used in a network diagram. First definition is the activity. Activity is the project individual operation or job or task to be conducted. So activity represents some action, and it is a time consuming effort necessary to complete a particular part of the overall project. So each and every activity has a point of time where it begins and a point of time where it ends. And activity represented by an arrow. And let's see the diagram. Here arrow is indicating the activity A, and also observe that one the arrow head indicating the direction of progress in the project. Moreover, activities are identified by the numbers of their starting event and end of the event. In the above example, we observe that one the activity A, that is arrow is between the two events, that is the I and J, where I represents the start of the activity, that is tail event, and J represents the end of the activity, that is head event. These activities are classified into the following categories. First one is the predecessor activity, an activity which must be completed before one or more other activities start is known as the predecessor activity. Let's see the example. Here in this example, activity A is carried out the first. After completing the activity A, we have to carry out the activity B and activity C. So here activity A is the predecessor for the activities B and C. Next type of activity is the successor activity, an activity which has starts immediately after one or more other activities are completed is known as the successor activity. Here in the above example, we have to observe that when the activities B and C starts only after completing the activity A. So activities B and C are the successor activities for activity A. So next one is the dummy activity. Certain activities which neither consume time nor resources but are used to simply represent a connection or link between the events are known as dummy activities. In general, dummy activities are shown in the network diagram by a dotted line. In general, dummy activities are needed in the two conditions. First one is the two or more parallel activities in a project have same head and tail events. Let's see the example. So in the above example, we have to observe that when the activities B and C have a common predecessor activity A. At the same time, they have the activity D as a common successor activity. To correct this network diagram, a dummy activity is added at the end of the event B. This shows that when the activity D not started before completing of the B and C. Second condition is the two or more activities have same of their immediate predecessor activities in common. So this is we have to discuss with one example. So let's see the example. Here A is initial activity since no predecessor activity, and B, C and D are successor of A. Maybe we have to say that one the A is the predecessor of B, C and D. So let's try to draw this one. So this is the first one is the activity. A is the initial activity. After that one the activity B, C, D are the successor of activity A. So next row is the activity E is the predecessor for activity C and D, which means E will not start after completion of the activity C and D. Here C and D are the having the same head as well as tail event. So here also we should have to add a dummy activity. So we are adding a dummy activity to make a different head events for the activity C and D by adding the dummy activity D1. So next to see the events, the beginning and end points of an activity are called the events or nodes. Event is a point in time and does not consume any resources, which means events are the milestones and occur at a particular instant of time. So these events does not consume the any resources. In general, these events are represented by a numbered in circle. The head event called the jth event always has a number higher than the tail event. So here the numbering head event having the higher than the number in the tail event. These events can be further classified into the following two categories. First one is the merge event, an event which represents the joint completion of more than one activity is known as a merge event. Second one is the burst event, an event that represents the initiation or beginning of more than the one activity is known as the burst event. So next we have to see the common errors in the network construction. So in general, following three are the common errors in a network construction. First error is the looping. In a network diagram, drawing a endless loop in a network is known as error of looping. So looping means, so it is activities are endless loop. It's a forming an endless loop. This type of error we are calling as the error of looping. A loop can be formed if an activity is represented as going back in time. See in the diagram, here activity A, B, C are forming a looping. See here, activity C is once again it is going back to the event 1. Second error is the dangling error. To disconnect an activity before the completion of all the activities in a network diagram is known as the dangling error. See here, activity D is disconnected from the network diagram. So these type of errors we are calling as the dangling errors. So next error is the redundancy error. So redundancy error is unnecessarily inserting a dummy activity in a network diagram is known as the error of redundancy. So let's see the example here. All the activities, let's see the activity A, B, C, D will be formed one after the other. So in this condition, no need to add a dummy activity. So whether we are adding a unnecessary dummy activities in a network diagram, we are calling as a redundancy error. So next we have to discuss the some rules for the construction of the network diagram. So the first rule is the try to avoid the arrows that cross each other. Second one is the always you have to use the straight arrows. So next rule is the no event can occur until every activity preceding it has been completed. So before completion of the activity, so event should not be started. An event cannot occur twice. So which means we should have to avoid the loops. An activity succeeding an event cannot be started until that event has occurred. So next rule is the use arrows from left to right and avoid the mixing of the two directions. And moreover, vertical and standing arrows may be used. So next rule have to see dummy should be introduced only if it is extremely necessary. Already we discussed in the redundancy error. So unnecessary dummy activities you should have to eliminate. So next we have to see the last rule. The network has only one entry point called the start event and one point of exit called as the end or terminal event. So these are the rules for the network construction. So thank you.